Hi, I'm David Norris and I'm serving up the perfect podcast, Pompey Platter with Russ, Daz and Haz. Play up, Pompey.
He used to be a waiter, did David Norris. Well, he's served up the perfect cocktail here.
Gera back to goal, Lang. Needs a bit of help. Goodness from Lang. What can he do? Still there, Lang. Lang! You wouldn't believe it! Cross comes into the near post. Headers into the net! Shaughnessy! Surely Pompey are heading for the championship! Portsmouth are promoted as League One champions.
Hello, welcome to the Pompey Patter podcast. I'm joined by Haz and Russ. This is for episode 12, the season so far. So, guys, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Looking forward to seeing Pompey back in action this weekend.
Yep, all good, mate. All good.
Lovely.
Football's back the weekend, so we can't be too upset, can we?
No, until 5 o'clock on Saturday. That's when we'll save it for.
Positivity, Daz. Come on.
That's just going 2-1 Blackburn with Murphy to score, right?
Nah, he's part of my Millwall preview, actually. Yeah, so this is episode 12. We're doing something a little bit different tonight due to not having a game to review on the weekend due to international break. So we're just going to go over our thoughts of the season so far. And if anyone's listening on Space, they want to chip in with their thoughts, they're more than welcome to come on. We'll do something a little bit different today. Then we're going to move on to our Blackburn preview, then on to our Millwall preview, a bit of Haz versus Daz, Harry's Who Am I, and then we'll finish with any other business. So, as I said, if anyone wants to jump on, obviously just request it and we'll get you on. I suppose until then, or if we have anyone who wants to have a little say, we'll just talk amongst ourselves. So, Harry, do you want to give us your views on the season so far? You can start from wherever you want, maybe from the start or way through.
Yeah, so I'll probably go. I'm going to kind of give it a rating out of 10 to start off with, and then go for my reasons. So I'm actually going to give it a 6 out of 10. And I know that might be quite high for some people, bearing in mind we've only won 2 games. But it's just popped up. Pep signed a new deal at City. Interesting. Anyway, sorry, back to this. Give it a 6 out of 10 because I think actually it's probably what's bumped it up has been the last few weeks, really. The performances have started to really push on. Obviously, we had those first kind of 7 or 8 games up until the Sheffield United game at home, where it was probably one of the toughest starts that anyone's probably had in the Championship when you're certainly being a promoted side. You know, Leeds away, Luton at home, Middlesbrough away, Sunderland at home, West Brom at home, Burnley away, Sheffield United at home. It's a tough task. And the fact that we came out of that with 4 points was probably more than we bargained for, or probably more than we thought. Obviously, the Leeds game and the Middlesbrough game and the Burnley game, we probably cost ourselves points in the last few minutes, and we probably could have won at Leeds, but then equally we could have lost if Aronson put that last-minute chance actually in the net from 7 yards out rather than wide. Obviously, Middlesbrough was unfortunate. Luton was frustrating for its own reasons because they went down to 10 men with Kaminsky being sent off, and we probably could have and probably should have. You always feel if you draw against 10 men, especially if we played over an hour without it, with 10 men rather, that you kind of feel like anything other than a win is a disappointing result. And obviously Luton haven't started great, but it is what it is. You know, they were a Premier League side last year. The only 2 that really stand out though, where we really sucked, were Stoke and Cardiff. And it seems to be kind of this midweek. We had a positive performance before the Stoke game, which was kind of Sheffield United. And then we got pumped 6-1 at Stoke. And then we had that win against QPR. And then we went away 3 days later and then lost to Cardiff. And it was the manner of the defeat. You don't mind. We know that we're going to lose games this year. We kind of all agreed that. And I think any sane Pompey fan would know that we're going to lose more than we're going to win this year. But it was the manner of those defeats. But then we bounced back, and we kind of, the first half was really good against Sheffield Wednesday. We let them back in. We didn't punish them. The same with Hull. We kind of started with a lull in that game, and then we came through and probably should have won. Plymouth, just a bizarre game, really. We just pumped them for 85 minutes, and we discussed it. We just ruined ourselves again. A lot of our season so far has been through our own mistakes. I don't think we particularly played as bad as probably we feel, and obviously there's always a lot of anger and kind of, you're always pissed off a lot more immediately after the game. But once you've kind of settled down, especially recently, you obviously finish off with our Preston win. Yeah, I think it's a room for improvement, but we're definitely kind of starting to tick. And as long as we keep it going into this game week of 3 games, Blackburn away, Millwall home, Swansea, then I'm feeling positive, and I still fully believe we're going to stay up. So yeah, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all of that. It's I think this season has been one of those things where it started obviously a lot higher than we thought because of I think with the running games we had at the very start, I don't think anyone really expects us to pick up any points really. I know we're in the league, so it's one of those things where we're good enough to be there, so we should be competing. But I mean, in reality, if you look at Leeds, wage Bill to ours, and their sort of players, a lot of them should probably be still be playing in the Premier League. For us to get those points, then we obviously halfway through this first bit, we kind of had a big dip, mainly because of how we'd be up 1 minute with a good performance, and then and then on a Tuesday or Wednesday, 2 couple of days later, we'd then just absolutely shit the bed. And I think that was the big thing for me, and that I started to get worried when we'd have a good performance on the Saturday and then roll in on the Tuesday and Wednesday and be absolutely nowhere near it. And those 2 games against Stoke and Cardiff are the only 2 games I feel that we've not been anywhere near it, as in like there was only one team in it, only one team was going to win, and you sort of felt that after the first 10 minutes. Even though obviously we didn't win against Plymouth, I am a lot happier with how we reacted after the whole City good second half performance, because I felt this could be a really good big turning point for us. We can go to Plymouth, put a very good performance in, which we did. I mean, obviously I know the result didn't reflect that, but the performance was very good up until they'd scored. So I'm quite glad then obviously we didn't take that disappointment of losing the last minute into then Preston, because I think Preston, it was only one team in it, one moment of like sort of hesitation which cost us a goal in the second half, but apart from that I thought we were pretty solid. So yeah, I'd probably join you, Harry, and I'd probably go with a 6 out of 10. Before the week before the international break, I would probably put it at like a 4 point. I don't know, can we do half a point? I'd probably do it at like 4.5 because it was probably just below average. But that last week before the international break, I think really, really saved us and really pushed us more into just a little bit above average. Russ, what's your thoughts on that on the season we've had so far?
I'd give it a 5. I think it's just been bang average. But starting to, I would have said, probably a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said a 4. So we're coming up to a 5 if we carry on the sort of good performance away at Hull and Plymouth, where we should have come away with 6 points out of them 2 games. And then obviously the win against Preston. Keep going like that, I'm sure we'll turn things around. One thing I wanted to ask you both was, who do you think has been like player of the season? I'm going to give you 3 things: player of the season, flop of the season, and disappointing transfer of the season.
Well, I think there's only one option, but you'll both agree for player of the season so far, and that's Callum Lang, isn't it? There's no other person that has kind of performed for how many games have we played? 12. He's performed for 10 of those games, if not more. He's dragged us kicking and screaming in some of these games to try and get some kind of result. So he's easily my player of the season so far. Flop of the season. I'll come back to that. Let me have a think. You two go.
Yeah, I agree with the whole Callum Lang being player of the season. I don't think there's really anyone else at the moment. I think if we did this again at Christmas, then I think we're maybe potentially looking at a few others. But yeah, definitely at the moment it's got to be Callum Lang. For me, flop. I'll just have a quick little think then. I know he's not really played a load of football, but at the moment, which I'm hoping since the international break and his 2 goals, he can maybe sort of come back with a rejuvenated step in his walk, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It'd probably be Yengi, and then closely followed by Ogilvie, who I think that last week before the international break, I think he's really come on, and he's starting to sort of be the player he was most of last season. I know he got caught out a number of times, but I think he's really starting to show a bit more quality. And disappointing transfer only because we've barely seen anything of him. I would say Kamara, because I think what the sort of hype he came in with, which might have been built up by all the fans and that sort of stuff. Obviously, coming from Dortmund, I know Dortmund's second team and things like that, but I suppose we thought he might be in there, hit the ground running, but obviously that hasn't happened. So yeah, that's the disappointing transfer for me.
My flop, I've worked it out. I actually forgot he was here, and that's because he is the flop. Is Sammy Silvera. He's come from another championship side. He's just not been there at all. He's just looked awful. He's looked lost. He doesn't know what he's doing.
The red flag should have been how quickly Middlesbrough are willing to let him go out on loan.
They were probably laughing that another championship side has come in.
They normally, you don't get players from Championship or the Premier League till a week or two before the season starts. He was like our first signing, wasn't he? Or second?
Yeah.
And
I think with someone like Samuel Silvera, obviously for Middlesbrough, their targets were a lot different compared to ours this season, wasn't it? I think again, and that might be why we took Sammy Silvera on, is that the fact that Middlesbrough might not see him as a player to get him in that top 6 or in those automatic positions, but is he good enough just to keep a side up? And yeah, I mean, at the moment, I thought he started okay, but that's the thing I think with Silvera, he's just, as I said, reminds me of like Owen Dale, where it looks like he could do something on the eye, but the sort of the latter stages of it all and the production, I just don't think he's got it really. Yeah, not for me, to be honest. Russ, what's yours? What's your opinions on the player of the season so far, flops, and yeah, disappointing transfer?
Yeah. So Lang's obvious at the moment. Probably a couple of these would have been different a few weeks ago. I think flop would have been Richie. A month ago, if that. Whereas now, if he carries on going the way he is, he definitely won't be a flop. My flop, I'm going to give it to Norris, because how do you go from being number 1 championship goalkeeper within 12 games all suddenly your third choice?
Yeah, that's spot on, to be fair.
You know, I think, and he literally has flopped the ball into his own net a few times near enough. So, I still love Norris. He's still got, the memories of him from last season, but he has to be he's my flop of the season. And then disappointing transfer. Could you look at it as in we haven't seen much of the likes of Kamara and that, so is that disappointing? I think the one that's really disappointed me is probably Sorensen, just because bit like Yengi, he had his chance and he just didn't take it. And Bishop's on his way back, and neither of them are going to get a look in a minute at all. And now we're talking about sending him out on loan in January, which is something we all discussed last week. So you signed this striker for was it 300k, 400k, wherever it was, scores on his debut, thinking, right, what a player we got here. And then now we're talking about loaning him out in January. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing with some of these players. Like, I mean, I was just thinking to myself then, it's quite funny how we've all got kind of a different flop this season so far, which sort of tells a story, I think, of the season so far. There's some of these players that have come in while other players have been out injured. I mean, like of Bishop, things like that. I don't think anyone. Some of them haven't come in and they've been okay, but for them to keep players out like a Bishop, they have to pull up massive trees and they have to really show that they're better than like the likes of Bishop and someone like that. And I just don't think the players this season have just like, been able to come in and do it. Maybe last season when League One, maybe they might have looked better, but yeah, I just don't think enough players have done enough to keep like the likes of Bishop. And I want Messino to have a headache, and I want him to think about leaving Lang out for another player. But you can't do that with certain players in that squad. It's kind of they're the first name on the team sheet, and there's no one there to even like sort of battle for that position. I mean, Lang's never getting out battled by anyone at the moment in the squad, and it would be nice to see that. And hopefully in January we do get some players that will come in and be the ones that maybe push the likes of Lang and even Bishop, because when you have a strong squad, like that shows in the start 11 because they know they have a bad game, bad performance, even bad half, they can be replaced. Someone else comes in and the shirt's theirs. So yeah, so it's interesting to see all of our opinions on all those like sort of 3 points. But yeah, so obviously I see some people in the space. If you want to come on and give us your views, just press the request button and we'll get you on. But until then, we'll just keep talking amongst ourselves.
I was just going to say, just to add, Daz, I think the flop, the disappointing signing was just kind of not a particular player, but kind of anyone that's injured that we've signed or not played a lot of minutes, because it's frustrating. You think of Jacob Farrell's only played one game. Ibang Bawat is obviously out for the whole season without playing a single minute for us, and he was signed to cover for McIntyre and Paul that are out, and we haven't been lucky with injuries, and that's why also kind of my rating was where it was, because we haven't actually had a fully fit squad yet. We are playing, for example, Terry Devlin is kind of third choice right back / makeshift right back, and he is now starting right back. All right, he's doing very well, but at the start of the season, if you were to put out your team sheet, he isn't on there. Neither is probably...
He's probably not even on your bench either, really.
Well, exactly. Well, look at the first few squads. It took him probably, 8 or 9 weeks to actually get in the squad. So we've had so many injuries. Let's just hold back on crucifying people. It's very frustrating. It is, because we want to win and we're so used to winning last year. But this is a different team. We let 13 people go last year, or 14 or whatever, and we signed 15. But we've got so many injuries, we can't actually put a solid team. We're kind of mismatching. It's starting to come together again now. But we're still, we're playing Packer centre half. All right, we've got McIntyre, but he's out of form. We've got no other centre half to play. Well, Towler, again, you could probably play, but he clearly doesn't fancy Towler to start unless it's an absolute must. But I just think we are unlucky with injuries. There has to be, as we've discussed before, there has to be some kind of reason for all of these injuries, because people like Bawat and Farrell, they aren't injury prone. They might have had a injury or two, but Kamara has had injuries, but again, he's been available, but just chilled on the bench. He hasn't really been used. He's been used for 90 minutes. So we've got to kind of put into perspective where we're at. So yes, it's frustrating where we are and we haven't done as well as we wanted, but let's wait until we actually get these players back and then we can kind of kick on from there.
Yeah, I agree. And and obviously following on from players that have never been really injured, like I can't remember Nessie being out much at all last season, if he was at all. I
No,
think he was ever present.
He was injury prone when we bought him, though.
Oh, was he? So
yeah,
obviously
I can remember everyone.
Season.
Yeah, and I think me and Harry discussed it in the chat yesterday. Is it because it's the first full season he's probably ever got through, and is his body just sort of don't know how to deal with it, basically?
Yeah, and do you mean if because I don't know his injury record before that, but if that is the case, it kind of reminds me of the whole Watmore when he left us, went to Wigan, and we were telling Wigan fans that he'll break down really quickly. But I think in that first season for Wigan, I think he was fine, and they were set like I saw a lot of social media saying he's absolutely fine, and then I think he's now again started having his injury issues. So I'm not sure.
Don't mention Wigan. That's where Shaughnessy was going, and we said no. So that's why he's not playing. Yeah, and Leeds. He had a big fight with Messino, and he might.
No. Leeds wanted him, and we wanted to sell him to Wigan, and he said no.
And then Leeds came in for a bid, and we said no.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So it means he don't want to play for us ever again.
And
shite, honestly.
Yeah. No. I was going to.
He's injured. He's injured. Just get over it.
Yeah, and also this he was illness. They came out and admitted he was ill and injured at the same time, but they just generally thought the injury was nothing.
Yeah, it was the I've heard from a couple of fans. I was thinking that's a nailed on source by the sounds of it. So yeah, let's go with that one. That's always bulletproof.
But the one that made me laugh was the one was it you sent Harry or with the. I've been told by a reliable source that he was going off to Wigan, and then someone said, "Well, I heard from a reliable source that he was supposed to be going to Leeds." And you're like, "Well, you both have proven how bullshit it all is."
And that's it's unfortunate. He's just signed a 3-year contract as well, isn't he? So even if he does go, he's not going to be going for peanuts. And I don't think he's going anywhere, by the way. Just so I'll make that clear.
But he was sometimes. If there was an issue between him and Messino, why was he put in to start again? Was it the Sheffield United game? And then he had to pull out. Yeah. So if there was an issue, and also if there was an issue, I'm pretty sure they were just like he just wouldn't be in the team. They wouldn't have to cover it up. Why cover it up with an injury? Why does that matter? If a player and a manager's generally fallen out and they want to get rid of him, he just wouldn't make the team. He wouldn't have been registered.
No, exactly. It's bizarre. Look, sometimes where they've had a lesser training, like your body kind of slows down a bit, so your muscles aren't as intense. You aren't getting the same workout as you would normally when you're training every week. Because obviously he will have stepped back with his injury in his calf, and occasionally it just so happens again it's to do with luck. His other calf has gone, or there's an issue in his other calf. It just happens. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes you can go back after having an injury and you can go and play for years without another one. Other times, you're just running on the grass and the other one goes. It's just how it goes. It's just, you can't make it up. And it does sound ridiculous that this geezer it's like Farrell. He's constantly 4 weeks away. You can't help it, but sometimes you just get a setback. But we can't always be privy to these things, right? We're fans and we can't always know everything. Annoyingly, we want to know everything because we're fans. We want to know what our team's going to be. But if Messino's going to tell a little white lie or whatever, well, no one knew about Bishop. But if he came out during the week and go, yeah, Colby Bishop's back in contention, there's not the surprise of it. You're letting the opposition know what you're going to do. You know, it is what it is. You just can't. It's fate, isn't it? It's just bad fate.
And I think Lang was another one, wasn't he? Where he was not meant to be in the starting 11. They didn't even think he'd be in the squad. Was it for the QPR game? And then he's in the starting 11. So, and that's the thing. Messino doesn't want to give anything away. And I do understand it does get frustrating. Like, as I said on our group the other day, I was like, I've stopped just caring about who's out. I'll just see them when they're on the team sheet because you just drive yourself mad otherwise. And it'll just keep going on and on and on. Just because obviously, going off something what Harry said about obviously giving players time, and I think we've got a couple of players that have sort of shown that at the start of the season they were probably pretty much written off, and now they're coming through, and you probably think they're two names on the first on the team sheet. Like for me, Dazelle and Richie, from where we started at the start of the season, obviously they both have probably different reasons for maybe not settling so quick. Richie obviously because he didn't have a pre-season, and I'm not saying he's old or anything, but the older you get, the more of a good pre-season you'll probably need. Where and obviously now he looks like he's up and running, and then you've got the likes of Gazelle, who maybe for different reasons, maybe needed to settle, maybe didn't have the right partner with him. Because obviously now he's alongside Potts, they seem to be quite comfortable together. So maybe just building those relationships. Um, Out of the players that sort of maybe are on the edges, like, do either of you have any player that you think if we can just give them a bit of extra time, maybe just after Christmas? Do you think any of these other players that aren't performing at the moment, do you feel they'll sort of come through for us, or is there no hope for any other players?
Well, a few weeks ago, I looked at our squad and thought, I can't see who's going to turn this around for us. And funny enough, Richie was one I'd written off, proved me wrong. And then obviously Bishop coming back. So I think it'd be silly to rule anyone out because you never know. You look at Paddy Lane and you think if he can find that form again, he can be a real asset. If we can start getting Kamara some minutes. I really like the look of Blair, but I think he needs a loan out. I think I can't see him coming into the team at all. So yeah, I think it's silly to rule anyone out, but at the same time, at the moment, I'm struggling to think who can come in and make a real difference. Who would have thought Devlin made a difference he has? Who would have thought, we all written off Richie and thought, maybe it was a bad idea and he's been outstanding. So maybe the one I'll look at is probably Paddy Lane. If he can get back to his best, I really like Paddy Lane. The only question is the Championship one league too far for him?
Yeah, to be honest, Paddy Lane was the sort of the name that I was thinking of as well. And I think maybe because of what he did last season, and he just seemed like, I mean, that interview he did at the end of last season where he was pissed on BBC Radio Solent, like,
It's been class.
yeah, exactly. And you want those characters. So I mean, I just don't want him just because he got pissed up once and stuff like that. I want him because obviously he wanted to stay. 'Cause he's a good footballer, but as you said, Russ, like, can you make that next step? And I think maybe we will know more probably in maybe January, February, depending on how much time he's been given, if he's been given the opportunity. Harry, is there any sort of any players on the edges that you think maybe just give a bit more time and they've got more of a chance of being in the start 11?
I think it's just probably not really. It's just having a lack of a development squad or an under-23s or a reserve side. I think it doesn't help just because you've got the likes of Kamara, Blair. Obviously, Lane's back from injury. Williams will be back within a few weeks. There's players that need minutes, and we can't expect them just to come from being injured or not playing a lot to come straight into the Championship side and make an impact, because it's not going to happen. Not many players can come back from a month or two on the sidelines and come back in, play 90 minutes and have a positive impact for 90 minutes off. They always bring on 15 minutes to go and then half an hour to go and then a half and then the whole game. It takes time to bed them in. So having no reserve or under 23 side where you can kind of give these guys a chance to build up some match fitness, I think it impacts the squad because it means that they're not up to speed. Like the starting 11 or say 15 that we're kind of the core 15 that we're kind of using now. If you were to do them with like a fitness test or match fitness, they're way ahead of the other guys because the other guys aren't playing. They're training, but we always know that there's a difference between training and match fitness. So it's just we need to get them up to speed. whether that's people like Kamara and Blair, as I said, or people coming back from injury, they need to be ready to come in. And unfortunately, we haven't got the time to be able to go, no worries, mate, you can have a month to bed in. We need them to perform straight away. And unfortunately, without a development squad, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, as you say, like players that just come in, you can't expect them to hit the ground running. And I think that's the same for literally every standard of football. It's not just something just for the professional game, but obviously the professional game is probably about 100 times harder sort of to get up to speed because nothing ever replicates game situation, game scenarios. You can play loads of friendlies and things like that, but no one ever is putting their all in unless you've got like some kind of trialist or who's obviously playing for a contract. That might be different, but the majority of players just want to get through friendlies and stuff like that just to get some minutes in the legs. And yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be tough for the players on the edge of the squad. And as I said, without an under 23s, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really keep their match sharpness. But that's the route the club are going down. So they're going to have to find a way to be able to get these players in if they're needed, especially if you pick up a couple of injuries and stuff like that. Guys, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about the season so far. I was going to just quickly, just maybe from what we've seen so far, I can't remember what our predictions was at the start of the season when we finished, but would you change your prediction if you can remember it, or what sort of where do you think we might end up
I
come
think
the end
I
of the
think
season?
I said 18th or
I think I
17th.
said something similar.
I'd still be happy with fourth bottom.
Yeah.
I'd snap your hand off right now for that.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, like it's kind of hard to reevaluate your prediction when you're not even halfway through the season yet. So I'm always I'll see where we are after Christmas and things like that. But if we're doing a little mini season review now, might as well have a little have a little go at it. And as you said, I put ourselves at 21st now, but this is how mental football is. Come December, I might be thinking, oh, maybe we're back up at 18th, 17th, and stuff like that. Harry, you got any thoughts? I can't remember if you remember your prediction or not. Would you
Yeah, I wrote
change it?
I got 17th, and
Yeah.
I said between 45 and 50 points to stay up, and I think that's probably what we'll do. I don't really care as long as we stay up. Whether we stay up because of our own doing, or someone gets liquidated, or put us into administration, or FFP kicks in, then they get docked points. I don't really care as long as we stay up. It'll be nervous, but we're not going to be. We're going to be within. I reckon we'll be within the last 5 games of the season before we know our fate.
Yeah.
It's not good. I don't think we'll be like 10 games and we know we're already relegated like Rotherham were last year, where they shat the bed that badly that they just knew that they were fucked. So I don't think we're going to be like that. I think it will be down to the last like 5-6 games where we'll know with other teams like QPR, Plymouth, Wednesday, and teams around us like that we'll know whereabouts we are and like where the pressure is. And that's where we need other players to step up and show us what they've got when we get to that point. Whoever is here and whoever is playing, that's when we need to, okay, if you really want to show us why you're a championship footballer, go on, off you go, show us. But yeah, I'm not changing my opinion. My predictions is staying the same.
Lovely. And that's the thing, like for me, this season we're having now is not far too different from when I started supporting Pompey, because it always was like sort of the last couple of games to like stay up. I mean, I went to Huddersfield away when Dion Burton scored. We won 1-0 away at Huddersfield last game of the season. I think we sent Millwall down actually that day.
It was Millwall.
Yeah. I wasn't at Bradford, but obviously last game of the season away at Bradford, which was quite a funny thing because we got promoted at Bradford, didn't we, when we went up to the Premier League? Or we're outside,
Bradford's always been quite a good ground for us.
Yeah, so that's quite crazy how like sort of that like full circle things happen. But yeah, this season is kind of when I was supporting Pompey, how most of our seasons would go, and then like sort of last couple of games of the season would stay up, or last game of the season would stay up. So I mean, don't get me wrong, like as a kid, you kind of go with it, so you don't get as nervous. But I don't think my ticker would be able to handle that happening every season. But I'd take the anxiety and the nerves this season. Just kept us up. So yeah, is there anything else you guys want to mention on the season so far before we go into the previews?
Nope.
No, I'm good.
All good.
Lovely. Right, so we're back on the weekend away at Blackburn. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a very cold one for anyone going up there.
Is there a chance it could be off?
I don't know. Is it been snowing a lot up there? Do we know?
No idea. I'm gonna have a look.
I reckon it'll go ahead. They'll be all right.
Be a bit chilly, but that'll be all right. Come back with 3 points to warm everyone up, I suppose, isn't it? So, Russ, I suppose we can start off with yourself. Yeah, so what's your thoughts on the game coming up Blackburn away? They seem to have started well in the season, but then sort of seem a bit iffy. But then obviously picked up a good win away at Cardiff before the international break.
Tricky game. I think we all had them down to be nearer up where we are on the table than they are currently are. They did start off well, dropped off a bit. Looked good against Cardiff last week. Cardiff were in a good run, and they definitely were the better team, Blackburn. So before that, they hadn't won a game since like near enough beginning of October. It was on a real bad run. What do I think? I think, do I go with what I want or do I want points?
Go with your heart.
I honestly think we're going to lose.
Oh. I mean, that's not the most outrageous shout. I think this game could kind of go anywhere, couldn't it? It's one of those ones where a win, draw, or loss would none of those three results would actually surprise me.
I'm going to say just a narrow 1-0 loss.
Scorer?
I don't know any of their bloody players.
Oh yeah, of course. You have to name their player, don't you? Cantwell, aren't they? Is it Cantwell? Cantwell.
Yeah, Todd Cantwell.
Who scored the last one from
Andreas Weimann.
That's it. Yeah.
Lewis Travis.
Harry, you do yours. I'll think of a scorer in a minute. Give you a minute.
Okay. So I'll go for they've been before I go into my prediction. They've been in a mixed bag. They also they've only won one of their last 5, as kind of Russ touched on. It was that game against Cardiff. They lost the 2 previous games at home. They also lost to Stoke 2-0 at home and Sheffield United at home. They lost to Watford away and drew to West Brom at home. As you guys said, they started off well and they've kind of dropped off a bit, but they've got a few injuries as well. Ex-Pompey loanee Hayden Carter's out until December. Adam Wharton for Palace's brother Scott Wharton is out until January with a cruciate injury. So they've got a fair few injuries as well. So it's going to, as you said, Daz, it could go kind of any of the 3 results is probably possible. It's not looking kind of either way. You'd probably just favour Blackburn just because they have had a better start and they're at home, even though they've just lost their last 2 at home. I'll go for a 1-1 and I will go for Matt Ritchie.
He's going to bang one in soon, isn't he?
He's got to, and he's going to kick and obliterate that corner flag when he does.
I want him to do that at Fratton, though. I think that would be so much more powerful in doing it like down the Fratton and stuff like that. I'm actually going for the same scoreline, 1-1 for me. And I'm going to go for Lang this week. I'm going to leave Murphy out for now. I mean, since I've taken him out, he's kept scoring now, so I'll leave him off for a bit. So that's all right. But,
so you're going for a 1-1 with Lang
as well, yeah. Lang. I don't know if you guys one thing about the Blackburn Cardiff game. So I was watching it in the South Stand before the game. Their third goal was beautiful, and it kind of doesn't link with how John Eustace's teams are meant to be playing. We're told John Eustace's teams are very sort of like one-dimensional, but I think at Blackburn, from what I've heard another preview earlier today, I think with the Pompey podcast, PO Forecast lads, and the Blackburn lad was sort of saying that they can kind of be quite adaptable. But what we don't want to do is obviously go behind to them, because apparently if you go behind to them, they'll tuck in and they're quite comfortable defending a 1-goal lead. Russ, have you got a goal scorer for us yet?
Just Vyman.
Vyman. Okay, lovely. Cool. I see we have a guest. Is it Miltos? Is that how you say it, mate? You want to unmute yourself?
That is correct. Good
Lovely,
evening,
that's
everyone.
right. Good evening. I didn't want to.
Good evening.
Your
Welcome.
name, sorry. Miltos, do you want to give us a quick little run through how you think the season's gone so far?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, delighted to be on the show. And yeah, I think so far the season has been exactly how all of you guys have described it. I think the season started off knowing that we had a really tough schedule, where I thought that for the most part we competed really well. Obviously, had that great opener against Leeds, where we got away with a draw, and playing some really encouraging football. And then obviously we managed to pick up some other really good results on the way. Middlesbrough, some really good performances that unfortunately we didn't back up with results. Games such as Luton, Sheffield United, Burnley. I think games that very characteristically spring to mind. And then you had that feeling that if we were to continue playing this way, when matches would start to perhaps get a little bit easier for us, Stoke onwards, you felt as if we were going to start to pick up results, and the reality is we never did. And so we found ourselves in a position where we were asking ourselves, well, where exactly do we go from here? But certainly over the past few games, we have seen some massive improvement compared to what we saw in the games against Stoke or Cardiff. Both games were abysmal, and I think we managed to overcome that disappointment, and certainly against Hull, Plymouth, and obviously the win against Preston was a very big lift, and hopefully we can build on that going into Blackburn.
So Miltos, obviously, what was your thoughts before the whole game and then the end of the Preston game? Was that week, has that changed your idea of where we might finish or how we're going to play going on the season? Because you wouldn't have been the only person before that whole game would be a little bit worried, should we say? For me, that week has really sort of given me a good boost going into the sort of next part of the season. Did
Absolutely
that week change? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be brutally honest. I usually am the kind of person that always tries to see the bright side of things and always try to remain optimistic no matter what. But I will be completely honest here and completely transparent. I think after the game, particularly against Cardiff and then Oxford and before Hull, I wasn't feeling too confident, given and even within the game against Hull, like the first half against Hull wasn't particularly good. So I was disappointed. I didn't know if we had that ability in us to turn things around the way that we have obviously done since then. So yes, I will say that given how we've played against both Plymouth, Preston, and in the second half against Hull, certainly that optimism is restored compared to what it was prior to to these 3 games. And certainly, I think if we manage to build on what we have done over the past few games, then we are set to be in a better position than I thought we would be after the game against Cardiff, where I feared for the worst. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a generally optimistic person in my life, but I felt fear. I didn't know where exactly we could go from there after the game against Cardiff.
Miltos, I just want to ask you, Russ asked us three, who's your player of the season so far, your flop of the season, and your most disappointing transfer?
Well, I think player of the season is undeniably for me Callum Lang. I think the impact that he has had is uncomparable to any other player. He's the one player that we simply cannot afford to lose for any sort of reason. Callum Lang equals impact. Like everything in attack stems from Lang. His constant pressing, his energy. He just he's such an integral part into everything that we do. So yeah. Then flop of the season. Obviously, you never wanna proclaim any player to be a flop. But I think that given everything that we have seen about this player so far, and I don't know if Joe Musino expected this player to turn out the way that he did. Maybe he was anticipating a little better from this player when he first came in. But I will say Sami Silvera. It could be a bit harsh given the fact that he hasn't played as much recently. But I think the first player that springs to mind when I think of a player that initially I thought was going to have a big impact for us, and eventually he didn't, I think it's Sami Silvera. And then the other one was most disappointing transfer so far. I've gotta say, maybe Elias Aronson. Yes, I heard you guys say before that he came in obviously from having on the back of a really good season in the Danish third tier. He scored a goal in the opening game against Leeds, and we all thought that, oh, what a player we have in our hands. And he hasn't been able to back up that performance into the future. And now, we are potentially looking to loan him out in January. That's certainly an option. So yeah, I think disappointing transfer, probably Elias Aronson.
Well, what about your prediction for the rest of the season, Miltos?
Well, I think everything is up in the air, really. Like, given everything we've seen so far, it's really hard to predict what exactly our ceiling is. Obviously, our main objective and our main target should be to, by any means, avoid relegation. We cannot get relegated. We have to stay in the league. That's our number one priority. And I think other than that, it's really up in the air how far this team can push. I don't know, like, given the way that we have played over the past few games, Hull, second half, Plymouth, and Preston, it's really up in the air whether we capitalize on these performances and on the good things that we can take from these games and build on them and become even better, and start to consistently beat teams like Preston, or be competitive against sides in and around us. That's completely up to us. So it's really up in the air how far we can go. However, if I was to give a more specific prediction, position wise, I think around lower mid table is where I see us finishing. I'm feeling confident. I think we will survive the championship, and if we continue to play the way that we played over the past few games, then I see no reason why we can't push even higher up the league. I mean, the differences in the league are so small. I think only 10 points or something, correct me if I'm wrong, are currently separating 5th with 22nd or something like that. I was saying that the other day. So you never know how far we can go. But for now, I will say lower mid-table.
That's brilliant. Cheers, Miltos. I think what we're going to do before we let you go, we're going to press you for a couple of predictions and see if it matches anyone to us. So, first of all, Blackburn, what do you think the score is going to be? And if give us one goal scorer for Pompey if there is one.
Well, heart says Pompey win. Head says draw. However, I'm going to listen to my heart for this one, and I'm going to say 2-1 Pompey. And I'm going to say we're going to score first. It's going to be Conor Ogilvie with a header yet again. And then Blackburn will equalize. If I don't really know too many Blackburn players, I will just go with Weimann that I heard you guys mention there. And then in the 90th minute, the player who I feel like at the moment is due a goal the most compared to anyone else, Matt Ritchie, is going to bang one in the top corner. He's going to completely destroy that corner flag, and he's going to give Pompey all 3 points.
Yes, Miltos, love it.
I love the sound of that. And you're going to be the first one to give us the prediction for Millwall. What do you think the score is going to be on Wednesday?
I am, at the moment, I'm feeling particularly more relaxed about the Millwall game. I don't know why, and certainly that's something that can change regarding what we do against Blackburn. But I feel like it's a game that we can win, and realistically, we should win probably. I am gonna go with a 1-0 win. I'm feeling the sort of game that we managed to dominate yet again, but the sort of game that we're not as clinical as we should be. We don't manage to put our chances away. I think we might score really early on. I don't know why I get that feeling. And then we will just hold on to that result and stick with it right until the very end. Scorer, I'm going to say Langi. 1-0 Pompey. Callum Lang.
Top man, Miltos. Thank you very much for that. And I tell you what, if that Blackburn preview prediction comes in that order, I'm definitely putting a bet on Wednesday 1-0 Lang. I'll tell you that for free, mate. But thank you so much for coming on, mate. Thank you for your input and stuff like that.
Thank you, Miltos.
We definitely hope that your predictions.
My pleasure, guys.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Miltos.
So, as
My pleasure, guys.
Cheers, mate. As Miltos has kicked us off with the Millwall prediction, I'm actually going to follow him because I got 1-0 as well. And I'm not just saying that because Miltos said it, but I've actually gone 1-0 and I'm going to go for Murphy on Wednesday because I've worked it out earlier that I'm going to have to keep changing over goal scorers because it seems that I pick Lang and he stops scoring. And then I stop picking Murphy. He keeps picking up goals. So I'm going to go back to Murphy for Wednesday. I think it's going to be quite tough. I mean, like doing Millwall, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Saying that it'll be about 25 now, but I think Millwall will come with a game plan and make it difficult for us. It seems that they've done that so far this season. I think the best chance for us is to play them at our place. I think playing them away from home is going to be horrible and nasty, and that's not just the atmosphere. That'll be also, I think the way they like to play is a typical Neil Harris side, isn't it? So yeah, for me, it's 1-0 Murphy.
You know Murphy will score against Blackburn now instead.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem. That's why I'm swapping them over. I'm sharing it. Everyone's getting a bit of it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I think it'll be tough. I'll go next. I think it'll be tough because Millwall were unbeaten in their last 5.
6.
Is it 6? They've beaten Burnley and Leeds at home, both 1-0. But
they don't score a lot and they don't concede a lot either.
their 4 wins, their last 4 wins have all been 1-0s, and then they drew away to Stoke. So they've been in some good form, but it is going to be difficult. I just think at home, midweek under the lights, we'll get another positive result, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 because I do think we'll concede because we haven't been that great really defensively. So, but I will go for. Let's go for another Bishop goal to secure the win.
Love that. I'm going for the same scoreline, 2-1, but with Richie scoring.
Lovely. Yeah, I think it's going to be a relatively tight game, and as you said, they beat Burnley and Leeds at home. So I'm hoping
it'll be a hard game.
Yeah. No. I mean, I was relatively impressed with their second string that came down in the cup game earlier in the season. I know that it was our second string as well, but they're a good, solid championship side. And one of my mates supports Millwall, so I'd love to rub his nose in it come Wednesday night.
I'll put it this way. So when they played Burnley had 65% of possession, but only had 1 shot on target. Like it's going to be tough. I think 2-1 is a bit generous, but I've just got a feeling about it. I mean,
yeah, no, I agree, and I think if we can definitely get a good positive performance and result against Blackburn on the weekend, I think going into that Millwall game, I'll be really, really confident, whether or not we win or not. But I'm hoping I had the same feeling I had before the Preston game. For some reason, before the Preston game, I didn't have any nerves whatsoever. I mean, it might be might been a couple of beers I had before the game, but I felt all right. So I'm hoping.
Even when it was 2-1, I didn't get nervous.
Yeah, nah, I felt okay. Again, I think it's because I had so many beers during the day. But for me, it doesn't matter how many drinks I have, I'll still get nervous no matter what. So yeah, so hopefully that will. Obviously, these predictions will be positive this week, and we'll have a good chat about them come Thursday. So, unless there's anything else, should we move on to the fun and festivities of the little quizzies?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it then. Let's go.
Right. So, we're now on to Haz vs Daz. Daz is currently 3-1 up. We are going to do a career path without the path, if that makes sense.
So it's random.
Yeah, so I'm going to name the club they played for, but it won't be in any particular order.
Right.
Okay. Because I find, especially when it's Pompey players, it's very easy to work out very quickly who they are.
Yeah, because you can't just work who we got them from, and sort of you get a rough idea.
So obviously everyone's played for Pompey. So I'm just going to randomly name out a club that they played for. You can have a guess per club. So there's no, you're not out like you were in the other one. So, might as well have a guess each club I mention. All right?
Lovely.
Let's go.
Right. So, first club I'm going to give you is Plymouth Argyle.
David Norris.
Oh, it's at the same time.
No. Did you say Haz? Did you say the same?
I said it, yeah.
All right. No. Now, the next club I'm going to give you is Bristol City.
Jesus. I'm just going to go with I don't think he's played for Bristol City, but I'm just going to quick get Jake Jervis.
No,
I didn't think he played for Bristol City. Just trying to think maybe he was there when he was a kid.
I'm going to make it clear, I'm not going to use it. They have to have played for the club, so I'm not going to do any
Yeah, no, what I meant was it was like he's come to the academy and played like a game or two and then gone.
Yeah.
No, Jake Jervis came through West Ham's academy.
Did he?
Yeah. That's where we had him on loan from.
I didn't realise that.
Yes.
It's not, but because he played for Bristol City, I'm just going to go Cam Pring.
No. Next club I'm going to give you is Rotherham United.
Fucking hell. Jesus. I don't know, to be honest.
No.
Joe
Skip.
Mattock?
No.
I'm just going off of your Rotherham United. Guessing now.
I don't have a guess. Carry on.
Oxford United.
I have to keep reminding myself these aren't in order.
Yeah, that's what you keep thinking, isn't it? It's really easy to go, it's this, this, and this, but it's not. Oxford.
So you've had Plymouth, you've had Bristol City, Rotherham United, and Oxford United.
So they're like a League One kind of traveller.
Yeah, League One, League Two.
Ryan Williams?
No.
Oh.
That's a great shout, though.
That was a good shout.
Because
he has played for Rotherham and Oxford.
Yeah, I just couldn't think. Didn't know if he would have gone to Plymouth or Bristol, so I was guessing.
It was a good. It was good. I rate it.
Thank you. Any guess, Eric?
I'm trying to just think. It's like Oxford. Are we allowed any clues?
You can ask a couple of questions that, like, about, like if you want to know a position or.
Has he played for Pompey within the last 10 years?
Yeah, had he played for us within the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that narrow it down?
Oh, maybe not, but
I will say, to be nice, just in the last 10 years.
No. Don't think it is Simon Eastwood.
No. Next club we're going to give you is Grimsby Town.
Ben Davies?
No.
Oh no, that was he's played well within the 10 years. Jesus. I tried Omar Bogle in my head for some reason, but not him, is it? This is well hard.
Danny Rose?
No.
Go on, next team.
This is hard. Just because, as Daz said, there's no particular order. It's hard to think of. Yeah.
Next one is Newport County.
Ryan Bird?
No.
He did go to Newport County, didn't he? But I think he came to us with non-league, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to kill me. No.
You've stepped it up, Russ, haven't you? You've gone.
Yeah.
Well, bloody hell.
Okay, let's see if you can get it in order then. Yeah?
Go on then.
Go on.
Rotherham, Bristol City, Pompey, Oxford, Plymouth, Newport, Grimsby, and then the club, according to this, he's at, but I don't know if he actually is still there, Alfreton Town.
Say the one before Pompey again.
Bristol City.
Bristol City, then Pompey, then Oxford.
Yeah.
Gee, that ain't helped me at all either.
Was he on? Would you give us if he was a loan or a transfer or?
He was a transfer.
Paid or free?
I would have thought free. I would have thought. I wouldn't hold me to that. Please don't.
I'm trying to think of Pompey players that then played for Oxford.
They're saying that he come in January, so he might have been paid.
Wow, I can't. I've got a mental blank.
The only person I can think of is Cam Pring that played for Bristol City that we then got, which is obviously not him.
No, because he came through their academy, didn't he? He's still there.
He's still there now.
And he's actually playing as well.
Any other clues you can give us?
I'll give you another clue. He's a striker.
I've no idea.
Are we going to kick ourselves?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
What season did he play for us?
He was here between January 2013 to the summer of 2015.
Did you say January 2013 or summer?
Yeah. January 2013.
Oh. Jesus. That's when we were in League Two, weren't we?
Yeah.
Who did we buy in the January League? But that was our first season League Two as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think.
There's so many clues. What's his mother's maiden name? Fucking hell.
I'll give up on this one because we got others to do. So
I can't get it.
I genuinely thought one of you said it because you said his first name, which was Ryan.
Ryan. Oh my God. I've had a commitment. I'm going to kick myself when I hear this, I bet. Go on.
Scored a last-minute goal in the 3-2 comeback against...
Ryan. Ryan. Oh, Ginger Matey.
Taylor.
There you go, Ryan Taylor.
I should have said Ginger Matey, should I?
That game, as soon as you said that gave it away.
Yeah.
I didn't realise we signed him from Bristol City.
Yeah.
No, neither did I, actually. That's why I didn't twig.
Yeah.
So I thought we got him from Rotherham. That's what...
Well, according to his stats on thing, it said Bristol.
That's probably right.
So.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I probably saw him at Rotherham, but never linked him with Bristol City.
Right.
Actually, because I watched the Grimsby game that he actually played in. I think it was the playoff final, wasn't it?
He played against Scum and Grimsby beat him, didn't he? Or he come on as a sub.
Yeah, and then he played in the playoff final for him. And they beat... Who they beat? Is it Solihull? Someone like that. Yeah. Useless now, so it doesn't matter.
Right. 1 second, because my phone is playing up and I need to get up the clubs because I can't remember them off the top of my head. There we go. Right, I'm not doing it in order again. This one should be easier. Right. First club, Reading.
Noel Hunt.
No.
Little. What's his name? What's his first name? Glenn Little?
No.
Oh, okay.
Charlton.
I don't know if he played for Charlton, but Nicky Shorey?
Nope.
No, I don't think he did play. Give us another team.
Barnet.
Don't be that either.
Kabamba?
No. That's all his clubs.
That's it. And Pompey.
And Pompey.
Oh, that's the clubs, is it? All right.
That is it.
So, Reading. I forgot the other one. Charlton.
Barnet
and Pompey.
Mm-hmm. I honestly thought they would have given it away, especially you, Daz, because you're a bit older.
Oh, so he's an older player?
Yeah, but it's a player you both know.
All right.
Both would have... you both would have seen play.
Oh my God, I'm having a complete mare tonight.
You had to work out if I was old enough then, didn't you?
No, I was trying to remember what year you said your first game was, and he definitely was there then.
What year was your first game, Harry?
Oh, well, that's the advantage I've got, Daz. You see.
Should have been listening.
Yeah.
Basically, Daz, we were in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I swear, did you say 2006 was your first game? No.
Yes.
No, it was early now. It was.
Yes.
I do listen. Do we get a point for that?
No.
Yeah.
Barnet's a real random. So he must have started at Barnet.
No.
No?
Ended at Barnet?
No.
Oh.
Well, where were Barnet then? Have they been that high? They haven't been that
League
high.
2. They've been in League 2. But I don't know if they've been League 1 though.
But we were in the Premier League at the same time as Charlton and Reading.
Oh,
that
is mental. I'm done with this again.
You can ask some clues.
Where did he finish his career?
Charlton. No. Ignore that. Us.
He finished his career with us. What club did we sign him from?
Reading.
Oh my God, this is painful to bet. Like, whoever listens to this will be like, "You're a pair of plonkers."
Yeah.
I think of a polite word to say.
Just going to confirm that we got him from Reading because I'm on the next player, so I've had to go back. I'm sure we got him.
It's the pressure, Daz. It's nothing to do with our footballing knowledge. We have that, I say positively. It's the pressure of having to quickly say it.
So he started at Charlton. He moved to Barnet. He moved to Reading. He come to us. He went out on loan to Charlton again, and then he finished his career with us.
When he returned, he played again from Charlton.
I don't think so.
So the loan was his career ending.
He come back for 2 minutes.
I'm from Reading in the Premier League. Glenn Little, Noel Hunt.
I never said that Reading were in the Premier League. We just brought him from Reading. Put it this way: he was with us 3 seasons before we got into the Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Not like Richard Hughes, is it?
No, he's Bournemouth, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he was. It's completely.
No, move on. Give her another clue, or just tell us what his bloody name is.
He's a centre back. Very well known Pompey centre back.
Primus. Jesus
Bloody hell.
Christ. I'm having a nightmare, this one.
That's one all.
Let's just do a decider and that's it.
Yeah, so we're on to the decider.
Lovely.
That one, I generally thought you both would have gone, oh yeah, that's Primus. Doing.
No, I didn't.
Metal blank.
Right. This one. Swindon.
Danny Rose.
No.
McLaughlin?
No.
Okay.
Bristol Rovers.
John Marquis.
No.
I don't think he has. Pittman hasn't played for Bristol Rovers, has he? Pittman?
It's Pittman, yeah.
Well, great shout. Well on, Daz.
Thank God for that. Because I was just thinking of Swindon. I couldn't remember if he played for Bristol Rovers because
he went to Bristol Rovers from us, I believe.
He went
to
us, and then he went to Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
Did he play against us? Didn't he play and they beat us when he played against us? Didn't they? I think.
I'm sure he scored for Bristol Rovers at Fratton Park.
Yeah. Or didn't he? I don't remember him scoring for Swindon during COVID when Cowley come in.
Yeah. Lovely. Right.
Well done, Dad.
But Dad's been 4-1 up.
Boom.
To be fair, that round was for the worst round we've done so far.
Yeah.
Please do not do that again.
Well, to be fair, Dad's done well on the last one, and he should have done better at Primus.
I should have done, yeah.
I only wanted to give you one hard one, and that was the first one.
Do you know what? If they were in order, I think we'd have probably got them. It was the fact that they were just jumbled. It was just like, what on earth is that?
All right. So next week, I'm going to give you a head. Well, maybe not next week, but the next time we do it, it's just going to be a general football quiz.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, nice one. Right. So now my turn for Harry's Who Am I? Are you ready, boys?
Let's go.
Always.
My first goal for Pompey was against this weekend's opponent.
Carney.
Incorrect.
Well, it's not.
That's factually correct. It's not the player I wanted.
I don't know. Gary O'Neill? Can't remember if he scored his back then.
No. So the next one is I was signed by Spurs from Pompey.
Darren Anderson?
Bosh, well done.
Fucking hell, brilliant.
Great shout.
Great shout. That's a great
shout.
That's
not from the Blackburn goal. I was just trying to think of players who I think, well, I know it's not Defoe. I know it's not Crouch.
The other two, I had two more clues on that one. Was I was born in Scum but signed for Pompey.
Yeah, that would have done it.
Given away, that one. Yeah.
And I scored in the FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. I mean, like players going from Pompey to Tottenham, the arm that lists as long as your arm, though, isn't it? Cabal, Cranchar.
But then I did that and thought, well, Defoe scored against Chelsea first. Cabal's first goal was a Milan, wasn't it? Thinking about it.
Was that Hull?
Yeah, it was.
Was it Hull?
Hull?
Hey, didn't he score against Hull when he got in front of the? Because I swear he scored in the Milton end against someone.
His first goal for us was against Milan, though.
Was it? Was that the first goal?
Yeah. I'm sure, because I'm sure they'll remember the commentary that they mentioned. It was something about it. When he scored it, it was something about it being his first goal for Pompey. So
when we played Hull in the Premier League, was it 2-2? Crouch scored, and obviously Johnson scored his worldie, and then it was 0-0 away from home, wasn't
it? Could be.
And then the following season at home, we did that comeback in the end. Nahara got that scored.
Yeah.
And Kanu scored a last-minute tap-in.
Lovely. Right. Any other business, I suppose, is next before we wrap up? Is there anything you guys like to mention?
I've just seen that. I don't know if I'm late to the party with this because I don't really look at Twitter much during the day until I get home. That we're looking to sign a new centre back because of Shotnessy.
Yeah, it looks like it probably could be that. Is it Hayden Matthews, the guy we were interested in before the window closed? I think we tried to get him in before the window closed, but I think we left it a bit too late, which I think we went for Bawat, I think. But yeah.
Where does Matthews? Who does he play for now?
He plays in Australia, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Quite a tall lad. Apparently he's like 6'4" or something like that. So that would.
Well, we need a physical presence in height-wise, don't we?
Well, that makes sense with Shotnessy if they don't know when he definitely will be back. I know they say 6 weeks, but that could be. I wouldn't hang on.
Well, Mousinho's 6 weeks at the moment. It's about 4 months, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's a good idea. Obviously, we're going to need a few more other positions, just mainly for strength and depth as well, and proper strength and depth, not players that maybe might be able to come in and do bits and bobs. We need players that can come in and hit the ground running and really play well for us. But Yeah, the only other bit I was going to mention, obviously, was the fact that Lampard looks like he's nailed on for going to Coventry, which I think is the biggest downgrade you could get from Mark Robins.
Yeah, one of the dads that who plays with his son plays with my son's football team. I was talking to him about it because he's a big Coventry fan and he's fuming, absolutely fuming.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a body of work that Lampard could really use on his CV. Don't get me wrong, I think Derby did okay, but I mean, if you look at the team he had, now, he had some good names in there, and I think Chelsea was that the one when they had the ban from bringing players in, and he did relatively well there. But obviously, when he actually was given money to spend, he really didn't really do it, did he? So it's going to be interesting to see how he does at Coventry. They've got a good squad. I like some of their players. It's going to be interesting to see how they do now.
I suppose the one thing is 1 year in the Championship he actually did really well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I suppose
that wasn't a really good Derby team though, with like Mason Mount and all that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mason Mount, Harry Wilson, Fikayo Tomori.
Yeah. That's it. He's got some
Jack
great players to
Marriott.
work with at Coventry. I mean, if you look at everyone, Mason Clark, Santi Lad's not bad. It's Sheaf as well, good player. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with them. I can't remember when we got them first, relatively soon. Is it before Christmas? I can't remember. I was looking at fixtures the other day. But yeah, so it'll be interesting if he gets them up and running by the time we play against them.
We've got them literally just before Christmas, the weekend before.
Is that away or home?
Home.
So that could be interesting. So they could either have that manager bounce by the time they get to us, they'll be on a good run, or he hasn't got them going at all, and then hopefully capitalise on it maybe. And if he can put a bit of pressure on him.
There's 6 games between that. And speaking to the Coventry fan the other night, he doesn't expect him to be in place soon because it's something to do with Robin's contract that they can't put someone in just yet.
There were rumours as well that they were going to hold off because they want Rob Edwards and they weren't sure what Luton were going to do. So they were kind of waiting to see if Luton were going to sack Edwards because then they would go in for him instead.
Yeah. And Coventry City, then they as in the city, they've just given Mark Robins the keys to the city or something as well, haven't
they? They have,
which is quite weird.
He got an honorary doctorate at the university, didn't he?
Asking Dan about it the other night, he was saying, well, last night, not the other night. I was like, where did that come? Why and where did it come from? And he said apparently it's been brewing since last year.
I listened because they had Doug King, which is the owner, on TalkSport with Jim White and Simon Jordan, and he kind of basically said that they lost their, I can't remember the assistant's name, but the assistant of who's been there is kind of Mark Robins' sidekick.
Got to find better or you're gone or something like that.
Yeah, and he left in the summer, and obviously sometimes when you've worked together for so long, it does kind of end, and obviously that's what happened. And the owner kind of basically hinted that the assistant was kind of the glue that kind of held it together, and he was kind of more of a impactful person than Robins himself, was the kind of impression that I got, and he was the one with the ideas and stuff, not Robins. So if he's got that kind of and if he's got that kind of impact, then obviously losing someone of that ilk, and they've been together for so long, it's going to take its toll. But maybe after the fact, he's been there for, was it 7 or 9 years, and he's got them from League 2 up to the Championship, toenail from the FA Cup final, again on penalties to the Premier League last year. Someone deserves more time, as we said before, it would have been him. But the fact that when you sack a manager, like when we sacked Jackett, everyone, people, we all thought he should have been sacked much way before he did. And the same with Cowley, you knew it was his time to come to an end, but you didn't have that feeling with Coventry. You might have had a few murmurings, but you always do everywhere. it would be like if Pompey sacked Messino now, you'd be like, why? What benefit have we got? There wouldn't be one. They should have probably stuck with Robbins until. It's just the longevity, isn't it? They should have stuck with him until probably January. And
So apparently, the assistant manager was a big reason why they came back against United in the FA Cup. Apparently, the tactical changes was his idea. Apparently, and that's kind of like what you said, Harry. Is what led the whole thing on. He got told you find someone just as good or better, or you're out. Was what he was told, and then maybe there's some truth into it, and that does happen. Like as brilliant and as well loved Brian Clough was, without his sidekick, I've forgotten his name off the top of my head, and he proved that at Leeds, it doesn't all. Sometimes it is a partnership.
Yeah, you've got the Chris Wilder's second in command, the really tall lad. I can't remember what the guy's name is now, but he's seen as the sort of tactical brain. But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like some head coaches, managers, whatever, are just very good, like people managers, and it's the coaches behind the scenes that do most of the tactical stuff. Like, I mean, you got some managers and head coaches that like barely step foot on the training ground until like a Friday, and it's mainly down to the coaches and the supporting staff that do most of the tactical and the day-to-day stuff on the training ground. So, and if it works, it works. I think if you're gonna allow Mark Robbins to bring another guy in, I think at least you've got to give it a bit of time. And I don't think they were ever at risk of getting relegated. So I mean, give them a bit more time to see if their new coach does any better or stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, if
they
you're
were
gonna,
ready to go.
yeah, I mean, I think that just seems like clash of personalities. And if you're going to replace Mark Robbins, you have to come in with someone that you think, yeah, that's fine. Like Lampard just doesn't do that, does he? Like it's not like Lampard's replacing. I don't know. If Lampard was replacing Rooney at Plymouth, you probably wouldn't turn your nose up at that. You think that's understandable. But getting rid of someone like Mark Robbins and all the success he had, I know success is obviously measurable, isn't it? Like they never got promoted, they never got to the FA Cup final, but I don't think Coventry City would have seen themselves in a playoff final, one kick away from the Premier League, also one kick away from being an FA Cup final. And after the fact that not long ago they were playing at Northampton's ground because they had no ground to play in, they were like scrambling for players playing in League Two, and he's brought them all up to there. I think if you're going to sack Robbins after this first like part of the season, where obviously they haven't started great, I just think it's like it just says to me it's clash of personalities, 100% for me.
Kind of just reminds you of Mandrick and Harry Redknapp, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right, guys. I think that's us for the evening. I think it was a great little pod. Nice to obviously still have a chat, even though we didn't have any Pompey game to talk about, but plenty good chat for a preview. And also thanks for Miltos for coming on. Really great to have another fan on there, and I think it'd be another thing we do going forward when we have decent space and decent time. That we can get in and really have views from all Pompey fans if we can. But yeah, so I suppose we look towards Blackburn. Anyone travelling up to Blackburn, have a safe journey there and back. Hopefully it's not too cold and you warm yourself up with 3 points. And then we'll be down Fratton Park on Wednesday. So until then, guys, up the Blues.